Hi, hello. This is Qendresa, Influencer Marketing Director at EvenSkyn. And today we're going to be hosting another live event, and we have a very special guest who is Claire, also known as the Honest Channel. She goes by and she shares her videos over YouTube, and she has her own website, and she has been creating amazing content, working on interviews with very special doctors and experts to shed more light into the myths about anti-aging, about different treatments. And today we wanted to have a discussion, and we wanted to offer also a special discount code, which we're gonna share just in a few seconds. I'm gonna invite Claire to join in this live video. And for anyone joining, thank you so much for being here. It is super special to have guests, and have any question, please feel free to drop them here. We will be talking about anti-aging. We will be talking about things such as, is there too much? Hi, Claire.
Hello.
How
That
are
was
you?
way easier than I expected. I was sitting here like, how do you join an Instagram live? And now I know, and it's really easy.
It is super easy. I know this is your first live event, so thank you so much for doing this with me. I know it's late there in UK, and I really appreciate the time for you to be here. And it is super easy to join.
Yeah, I even put my lipstick on. It's like 9 o'clock at night here, and usually I'd be sitting in my pajamas. I'm not going to lie. But I got out of my pajamas.
Well, it is a special occasion today. I mean, to me, it's also the last live video I'm doing for this year. So you're the cherry of this process. But I have been hosting a few live events for a few months now, and we have been discussing about different topics, but mainly focusing on the anti-aging treatments at home, in clinic, talking about more than just skincare. There have been certified health coaches, board certified dermatologists, discussing about different perspective on how we can treat our skin more than just like topicals and the treatments we can do. We were talking about sleep, we were talking about nutrition. There's so many factors that are affecting our skin. So with you, I want to touch upon a few things that I know you have done extensive research, and you have done amazing interviews, and I have been, every time you're posting something new, I'm like, oh my God, something is coming up, something interesting is on. So please, for anyone who might not know you, please make a quick introduction, and then we can go over the questions that we have prepared to discuss during this live.
Sure, thank you. And thank you to everybody who's joined. I always think it's amazing. There's so much competition for people's time, and highly appreciative of you tuning in. So if you don't know me, I'm Clare Johnston. I'm a journalist. I've been a journalist for over 25 years. And a few years back, I accidentally started a YouTube channel. And that was because I was working for a news organization, and I had been doing some little test videos where we'd been doing product reviews to see how that would go down on their website. And I'd been filming them at home. My husband's a video editor. And when I left that news organization, I decided, because we produced these videos ourselves, therefore they belong to us, I thought I'm going to put them on YouTube, and I can use them if anybody wants to see my presenting work. I can point them towards videos. So I uploaded them to YouTube. There was about 3 of them, and I left them. And I have 2 sons. They're 19 and 17 now, but I mean, I'm going back a few years, and one of them was using my YouTube account to watch something. And he said, Mum, do you know that those videos you put on there have got thousands of views, and you've got a few hundred followers now? And I was like, I do? And I looked at it, and some of the videos had more views than they had on the news site that I worked for. And I thought, there's something in this, and I really had enjoyed making them. So we started doing one monthly review video that was maybe about a household product. I was about 45 at the time, so I started doing, you know, getting into these kind of anti-aging things. I was getting interested in that. As I aged, I became much more interested in that, and that really became the focus for me, was around sort of aging well, started very much in skincare, and then it has just expanded. I mean, it's insatiable, my interest in how to age well, not just about looks, but it's such a fascinating topic and everybody's interested in it. How can we stay mobile and look and feel our best for as long as possible to get as much out of life as we can squeeze? And so I'm, you know, naturally as a journalist, I like to talk to people. I started bringing in experts on the channel, and it's kind of grown from there now. And just this week, as you're aware, not everybody on this call will be though, I left my job in news to go full-time, basically focusing on how to age well and sharing that on any platform I can. Obviously YouTube is my biggest one, but I'm going to be sort of moving on out now into Instagram and so on, and just trying to get the message across where I can.
This is fascinating. And when you shared the news with me that you're quitting your job, and I mean, I know you have a book, you are a journalist, and I haven't had the chance to actually know a lot about your career and the background, but making such move, that was so bold and so inspiring. I was like, wow, those women always show me ways that are going to empower me in one way or another. And knowing that you made such move and like you're going and doing this full time, I know it takes a lot of your time to do a full-time job, anything else, and then doing YouTube, but you have seen the value, and you have, because also you have a very interesting approach to creating content. I know, and I work with people that do product reviews, they're going to test different things, and they're just like going to focus on the technology, the experience, the unboxing, and all of this. But with you, it's different, because like you are combining your skills as a journalist and your interest into and the passion of skincare and aging well, because it's not just the skincare, it's about aging well. And then you're going into interviews with very specific people, and you choose topics that are always interesting and hold so much value and insights for us to know more. And you have combined this, and then you have used YouTube as a medium to convey the right message. So for me, it was like, there are not that many people doing the same thing. It's usually product reviews, and then of course when you're gonna are looking for a specific product, you're gonna go on YouTube and you're like, okay, I want to know more about radio frequency or microneedling and all of that. But talking to experts and the questions that you do, it's super amazing. But I want to know, what is your long-term goal with your YouTube channel, and what was going to be your focus? Because now you have YouTube, and you're gonna and I know you're gonna be on other social media places and accounts more, but I want to know what's going to be your goal with the content, and where do you want to focus? What do you bring more? What is the plan?
My mind is so alive with the plan because I now have time. I mean, I was working 7 days a week for this entire year. Myself and my husband, you know, we both had pretty much full-time jobs, and every weekend has been YouTube, and I have been itching to do more and have more time to research and find great guests. I mean, I am on a journey to learn. So, and I am sharing what I learned with others. It's an open book. You know, you come with me and we're learning together. I'm just asking the questions, and then I'm piecing it together, because what people will find is that, you know, you listen, there's so many specialists out there and they've got great knowledge, you know, whether it's dermatologists or whether it's scientists or doctors who are working across different fields in health and health span. But what you will notice is they all say something a bit different from the other.
Yes.
And they all have a study to back it up. And it's really confusing for people. And what I'm trying to do is make sense of it for myself, and then try and make sense of that for other people. So I'll, you know, talk to one expert, but I'll remind them, well, remember, we spoke to this expert a while ago and they said this, and maybe it's because of this, you know, and there's a lot that we don't know. So at the moment, the development, whether it's technology or healthcare and supplements and so on, it is developing so fast that we are starting to sort of fill in the picture, but we don't have everything. So we're a little ahead of ourselves in that we don't have a lot of the longer term scientific studies to back things up and piece it wholly together.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more to come until we can give people definitives. And I think that's frustrating for some people. It's quite frustrating for me. So I see my role as just trying to make sense of it and bringing the right people together to help us do that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I want to say thank you so much for like making this decision and being so focused to actually bring more knowledge in a simpler form, because sometimes we can get very technical with new stuff that are kind of being researched, because sometimes radio frequency, or let's say red light therapy, you know, there is research and probably there's 1,000 videos on YouTube that you're going to understand. But then the combination of, okay, if I do radio frequency, if I do EMS, if I do facelift, or if I transfer fat from my body to the face, there's so many things that you just don't know. If I did this, can I combine this with something else?
Yeah.
And you mentioned that so many things are in different places, and so many experts say different things, or kind of the similar base, but there's something different. And that also, I think, that comes because not every person, like there's no formula for everyone.
Yes.
And there's so many different ways that people are being treated depending on their needs. And then there's someone going on YouTube or going somewhere and saying, okay, this is what works. And then somebody else, okay, this is not working for me. What's going on? There's so many things that we need to consider before making a procedure, talking about a topic or research. So the more people are going to talk about this, the more people are going to kind of fit the puzzle. It's going to help people to better understand. So yeah, this is so good, and it is super exciting to see what are the upcoming videos that you're going to work on. And yeah, I wanted to ask if because I have seen you do interviews with doctors, and you have been talking about different treatments, but I want to get more into your experiences with different technologies. And usually the most common ones that we're using at home is radio frequency, microneedling, red light therapy. There are topicals such as tretinoin. There's different ingredients like vitamin C, hyaluronic acid, and all that. But I think this is more common. What I want to know more, because I know you have talked a lot about energy-based devices. You have tested the EvenSkyn Lumo. You have tested so many other of our products, but I know others that you have reviewed. But you have also been very cautious into sharing. You always said there is a lot of research in radio frequency, but you know that this is going to do something to your skin. So I'm going to be cautious with my schedule. So please get into that. And for anyone who's in the process, okay, do I start with something less like microcurrents or anything? I want to know more about what have been your research and the finds so far.
Well, when I first started reviewing and trying devices, I was really quite naive to it all. I mean, I was just, you know, piling the products on. It never crossed my mind that you can go too far sometimes. And so, yeah, I mean, I was using everything and in abundance, and very interested in it. I was. I have changed my mind since the start of this year, and I go for more kind of gentler, so things like microcurrent, red light, I'm a fan of, microneedling. I think what we're trying to do with our skin, especially when we're in what I would call a maintenance mode, okay, so my advice to somebody who had more advanced signs of aging would be different than somebody who is just trying to stay kind of where they're at, maybe a little bit of tightening, but more or less just trying to kind of maintain where they're at. I think that things like red light and microcurrent are ideal for that. Now with something like radio frequency, I think that it's more powerful. You're putting energy into your skin, and wherever you're putting energy or heat into your skin, particularly when it's starting to reach deeper layers, you can achieve more, but there is also a little bit of a potential for harm, because when we put heat in, we've got fat cells. We know what happens when we heat up fat. So I think these are the things that people really need to weigh up. I mean, what I have kind of worked out through talking to consumers, patients in some cases, a lot of people get in touch with me if they've had issues. This is what kind of goes on behind the scenes. I mean, there are Facebook groups out there dedicated to very large numbers of people who have come together to discuss these things. In clinic treatments, they are more powerful, the devices that they're using, and they have more of a potential for harm. They've got more of a potential to create dramatic results. So that's the good side. But I would say anybody going to a clinic for these treatments, you know, you're wanting to really know that you have a very experienced practitioner. You know, I would really probably only go to a doctor or a nurse for that kind of thing, and somebody who comes highly recommended, who's got lots of experience in that particular device, and somebody that you can have a conversation with, and you can say, well, what about the risk of fat loss? And if they stare back at you blankly, or they go, oh, well, there is no risk with these devices, you're just like, look, you know, 1 + 1 = 2, and you're not adding up properly. You know, you want to know how it is that they get around that. How the technology works, their experience is going to help prevent that for you. When it comes to the at-home devices, I say use branded ones, because I've only had a couple of instances where I've had viewers get in touch about at-home devices, and they have been kind of unknown brands that have basically been purchased, that aren't regulated in you know, the UK or US or Europe. They've come from elsewhere, and they're pretty untraceable, and you don't know how they're put together, and it has caused fat loss in one case, significant. That's the only time that I've heard of that happening with an at-home device.
And usually there's no one to kind of back it up and support you during that process. If it's
No.
not a legit brand, then you might have an issue. You see changes in your face. You might reach to the brand and they just disappear. And I have seen stories like this so much. This is why we recommend a lot. And also, this is a part of the reason why I'm doing such lives with so many people. It is because I want to collect resources from people that have experiences. And I know many of you have used the EvenSkyn Lumo, but I'm trying to collect more information rather than just talking about the product. And I'm asking questions about how does one start integrating different devices into their routine, because it's not about one product fits all, and not one product or one technology. It's going to fit all ages. And we see so much content about younger people going and doing different facials that probably might not be necessary, but it's just a trend that you need to change your skin, you need to change your face, you need to change the whole look of it. And I don't think it's necessary I mean, I know everyone needs to have a skincare routine. You can integrate different treatments as you're aging. So maybe we can also talk about this later on, and discussing more about where does the technology fit into different ages. I know I'd like to pick your brain on this aspect as well.
Yeah, because I do think, you know, from my perspective, if I was going back and starting again with the kind of learnings I've picked up along the way, you know, in my 20s and 30s, I would purely have been using sunscreen every day.
Yes.
You know, the times I live in Scotland, I mean, at this time of year, you're lucky if you see the sun. So it's not so big an issue, but I still do put, you know, a lower factor, but I put a sunscreen on every day because I'm in the car, you know, there still is light. But when I was younger, you know, going on holiday, going abroad and, you know, baking in the sun, 90%, if not more, of the aging in our skin is down to sun damage, photo damage. So, yeah, that would, your 20s and 30s, that's all you need to worry about, really, unless you have, there are skin types that can tend to show lines a little bit quicker. And I think skincare can help with a lot of that. So maybe retinoids, if you've got that kind of skin in your 30s, you could be starting with those. I mean, the devices for me kind of crept in my 40s when I started seeing the initial signs of aging. A red light, I think, is brilliant. I really do. I have seen differences in the health of my skin with using red light. So I think that's pretty good really from, you know, any age.
Yeah,
But I
not
don't see a great
invasive.
need. Yeah, it's not a big one that if you're younger and you want to get the advantages of red light, it's good for skin health, it could be good for helping clear skin as well. So that would be a kind of recommendation for any age really. But I think the thing to bear in mind with red light, and these are difficult conversations to have because we don't have definitives, and people want to know, like, how long do I use it for, at what age? That's just not the kind of information we've got. But what I do know of red light is that, you know, there's a theory that basically red light can emit a burst of free radicals, and they're kind of unstable molecules, and in small numbers they can be helpful to skin. If you get to the point where there's a significant buildup, it is unhelpful to skin. So that means that there's an optimal time for red light, and it can vary from person to person, which is why it's so frustrating. But in my case, I just use it for a few minutes most days, maybe every other day, and that's actually enough. So sitting in front with a mask on for 20 minutes, half an hour, you don't really need to go that long. So you can save yourself a bit of time and still reap the benefits using for just a few minutes. So I would say to people, with everything that you try, ask yourself, what's the minimum amount that I can use this for, that I can see benefits from, rather than going straight to the maximum, which is what a lot of people do. They think, right, I'm going to get the most out of this. I'm going to have this on for half an hour every day. With everything, whether it comes to skincare actives or devices, what's the minimum amount of time that you can use it and start to see a difference in your skin?
Yeah, and we see people asking about the Lumo, can I use this every day? I want to use this every day. And especially with radio frequency, and especially the type of radio frequency that the Lumo has, we recommend using only once a week for 25 minutes, like a threshold of 25 minutes for the whole week. And people are like, I use this more. And it's like, please read the manual, please read the recommendation of the brand. There are other devices that are recommended to be used more, depending on how much energy they're delivering to your skin. But I think I really do agree that ask yourself, what is the minimum of getting the benefits? Because you don't want to use this for 1 minute and expect result, because it's not going to work that way. But the minimum that you can use one specific device or technology, and sometimes you only need one technology. You don't need to use everything, like microneedling, then microcurrent, then red light therapy, then radio frequency. The Lumo especially has been designed with the people in mind that only want one type of device. They don't want to have everything else, and they want to commit to like a short type of schedule that doesn't need a lot of commitment in order to treat the skin. But this is not recommended to a 20 or 30 years old. We recommend using something like this with a combination of technologies for people over 35 or 40 to actually start using with at least once a week, no more than that. If you're over 50 or 60 or 70, you can use it up to 2 times a week, because you have more severe signs of aging, and it takes more time for your skin to rejuvenate and actually see the benefits. But what are your thoughts for someone who's maintaining? What do they need to use, or what have you seen working? What have the experts what have they been telling you about those treatments? What is enough? What is too much?
Well, red light has been a big one that I've looked at quite a lot this year, and you know, we've spoken about that. So that would definitely be within the mix. I just think that that's a pretty good option for skin health, and I've seen changes to my own skin. I'm nearly 51, and I think my skin has improved this year, and red light has been part of the mix. I use microcurrent. I've got 2 devices that I alternate between. One of them is the Phoenix, and I love the little handheld solar powered.
I have it here.
It's great. That is one of my favorites. A, because I don't have to charge it. B, I can take it anywhere, although it was held up in security at Heathrow Airport, and the guy in security was looking at me like, what is this? He thought it was something really dodgy, and I was like, that is for my face. But I had to explain that one. But it's really good. I mean, it's a facial roller, but it has a slight current through it. And I mean, I'm also a big believer in facial massage, and that just really helps you do the job, especially when, you know, when you're in a hurry. So I will often use that maybe every other day. It sits in my bathroom, and I'll use it up my neck, and under here in particular. I roll to until I get a little pink flush, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get blood to the skin, more oxygen to the skin, stimulate and excite my skin cells. That kind of thing, it makes a difference. It's not going to, you know, make a dramatic difference. It's not going to give you a facelift overnight, but, you know, done over time, these things definitely help, and they certainly help for maintenance. I mean, really help for maintenance.
It doesn't have, it only has a moderate microcurrent. It's not going to feel too much in your
Yes, oh, no, it's perfect.
Yeah,
you can hardly feel it. And I have seen a reviewer say, this isn't working. I'm sure you saw that one. It was quite a big one. It was a reviewer on YouTube that did something on it, and she said, oh, mine doesn't work. And I was like, it does.
yes.
If you have slightly damp skin, like when I just come out the shower, if I start to use it, I can feel more, it's kind of grippy. That's when you know the currents kind of working. So I really like that. I like gentle microcurrent devices I can hardly feel, where they've got a gentle current. I worry a little bit about very strong microcurrent, but I don't have a whole heap of evidence. But I have had a lot of viewers contact me about strong microcurrent devices and wondering if it had caused them a little bit of volume loss in their skin. So all these reports are anecdotal, because, you know, we don't have a lot of studies on these things, unfortunately. So it is something that people kind of have to figure out for themselves. I would say that we all have different skin types, and that means that with something like radio frequency, for instance, one person can take a lot of energy being put into their skin. Another person may not. So I would say to people, just start on the very low levels. You know, you can go up through the power levels. Start low just for a couple of minutes, so you're testing. With something like radio frequency, I mean, I would go for, you know, where you maybe have a little bit of fat under the chin or whatever, and here it doesn't really matter if you lose fat. So that's how I would start, basically, and build up from there, so that you know that it's working in the right way for your skin. Because there are people who have sensitivities to different technologies, different skincare actives, and you can only really work out if it's you by starting small, starting low, and build up.
Yeah, 100%, I agree. And there are different research done, and you can also listen to different people and their reviews just to see how it's working for them. But until you start using the specific ingredient or active or device for yourself, you might not know if it's working for you or not. But this is why we recommend, especially if you're starting with actives in your skincare routine, you need to start with only a few times, let's say probably once per week or twice, or every other night, just to see if it's working for you. Because I also see people with using retinol, especially, they're like, oh my god, this is like the super ingredient, let me use this every day. And then you're probably going to have irritation, sensitive skin, or there's so many effects, or dryness that those ingredients might cause. So you need to listen to your skin, both with skincare but also with the device, and see if it's working for you. And I know this has been the story with you as well. And as you mentioned in the beginning, you were like just piling things up and you were using different devices. But then right now, I recently watched one of your videos when you share like, this is my skincare routine at the moment, and you're focusing on a very simple, gentle ingredients, that it's not too much for your skin, focusing on antioxidants and peptides to give you the benefits, but you're not going with too many things on your skin. But how did you kind of come up with that skincare routine and the devices, and how did you kind of decide this is where I want to stay at the moment?
I think what is brilliant about having a YouTube channel where you have a lot of like-minded people who are giving you constant feedback about what's working for them, not what's not working for them. And then you're talking to experts, and I'm trying stuff for myself, you can piece things together more quickly. And that's what I did. I started piecing things together. So, you know, I was using a lot of different devices last year. I was reviewing a lot of different devices, and I had started on tretinoin, and that was going very well for me initially. I could see that it was having a real impact on fine lines. Loved that. However, I think collectively it was just all a bit much. And so towards the beginning of the year, I really just noticed that my skin was really dry, and so, you know, it would be all right for maybe a week or a couple of weeks, and then I'd walk into, you know, a bright room and look in the mirror and realize I had, you know, little patches of dry skin. It was a little bit irritated. And I just thought, I also realized that the fat that I have in my face, I really want to hold on to. And I just started to think about it more like, okay, hang on. Do I want to be using every device that's sent through the front door? No, I'm going to be a little bit more critical than that. And so I really just focused in on a kind of capsule skincare routine. So I stepped back from tretinoin and started using a retinaldehyde, which is just one conversion step away, basically, from retinoic acid. I find it gentle on my skin. I find it effective. So I feel like I have maintained those initial results that I got from the tretinoin without irritation. Some people can handle a lot of vitamin A in their skin, and some people get brilliant results from being on tretinoin long term, and some people try it on their skin and have, you know, quite a reaction to it, and it causes inflammation, and it can cause issues, you know. I've heard of that a lot as well. So again, I think it's just, I decided to take a cautious approach for me. I wanted to see what would happen to my skin, and lo and behold, I felt the health of my skin transformed. And it is well hydrated, balanced skin, which is really de-aging in itself. If you have dry skin, it's one of the most aging things. So you can change the look of your skin quite significantly just by getting that balance right. And I think that growth factors, peptides, exosomes, which we'll be hearing more about, I mean, they're all sort of packaged in together. We will be hearing a lot more about those in years to come. And I was just thinking today, I can see a point, how far down the line it is with the pace of technology, where we'll have skin sensors, and they'll be just telling us what our skin lacks and needs, and we have our individual prescription, and off we go. We won't have to debate it anymore. I'll be out the job.
That is already happening. I mean, I know a lot of people who are focusing on devices, and you can do analysis of your skin and actually see what exactly do you need in combination of ingredients and also skincare technology to bring back that youthful and healthy glow, because it's not just about anti-aging. What we want to maintain is have a healthy skin, actually. So if you have too much dryness, don't go over ingredients that are super aggressive to your skin and probably cause even more dryness, but focus on hydration and focus on only simple ingredients that you know are going to bring you the benefits. But also, this brings me to a question based on your research and the discussions, but also the experience with different ingredients, but also devices. What have you seen fat loss in terms of at-home ingredients, products, devices, and also, did you see something that probably is going to help gain more fat or volume to the skin? I want to know both sides of the story. Did you experience something like that yourself? Because I know people come to you with comments and questions. I have seen this happening to me, and sometimes you might think it's because of a product or a device. It could be also just aging process. It could be other factors that are probably affecting this. But based on your experience, have you seen fat loss happening, and what do you recommend, or what have you researched in terms of fat or volume gaining?
Sure. I just want to answer one of the viewers who's asked the question there. I can see down at the bottom, she's asking they're asking what I swapped tretinoin for. It's retinaldehyde. So shortened, that's just retinal, N-A-L. And there's a few options out there, a few good options out there. And I find it, yeah, gentle, but effective is what I would say about that one. I don't think I have experienced fat loss through anything I've done at home. I did experience a little fat loss through UL therapy, which is an ultrasound treatment that I had in a clinic. Really powerful. I mean, I felt that and then some. You're welcome. She was just saying that. So I don't know why I'm saying she. It could be anyone. But yeah, I did think I experienced a little bit of fat loss from that. It wasn't hugely problematic, but it was my mum that kept saying to me, what have you done to your face? What's happened to your face? And I realized that she was going, it's much thinner. But it came back. And I think that you can regain some of the fat that you've lost. And I think good skincare is part of that. A gentle stimulating routine. I couldn't emphasize that enough. That's what you want to focus on. Nothing that's overwhelming, but just something that's getting the blood flow going. Lifestyle is hugely important. You know, it's the boring stuff really, but you know, diet is huge, and getting sleep and hormone balance. I mean, that's quite a controversial one. I've been looking at that recently on the channel. That's one that you have to tread lightly with. Every time I publish a video involving HRT or hormones, it's like, hold on to your hats. People have very strong views on it. But there's no doubt that hormones affect our skin massively, and that loss of estrogen, you know, I'm right there right now. And so these are things that people have to sort of weigh up. And my approach, and it's the same with hormone replacement, I use an estrogen gel on my upper arms every morning. And again, I'm using the minimum amount I possibly can that helps me overcome some of my symptoms, although you can see me flushing.
You can use the cooling
You've got
mode.
this to look forward to.
You can use the cooling mode of the Lumo. There have been people telling me that when they have
right now
flashes during their menopause, and we have been discussing this in one of the lives, they were like, I use the cooling mode. It is super amazing. Yeah. During the hot flashes.
Oh yeah, I could imagine that actually. Yeah, I don't get them so much now, but just because I'm sitting next to a radiator and it's later at night, yeah. Got one going on.
That's totally okay.
I think it's because we're talking, the minute I say the word hormone, it's like a trigger word. Oh, yeah. They bounce into life.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I want to say, because we picked one of the questions, but if anyone has any question that needs to be addressed and have anything specific for Clare or me, please feel free to share it here. Well, I'm going to go over probably one or two questions, and I'm going to let you go. But I'm going to repost this video for anyone who is unable to join. We're joining from different time zones, so it's pretty hard to find an optimal time for everyone to join. So it's usually when we get the comments and the questions later after we repost. So we'll be able to answer some of the questions later on. But I wanted to ask, I have a few questions here. Also, yeah, I wanted to see about your experience with EMS. I know that EMS, it's not exactly the energy or radio frequency form. It is a treatment. It is as a workout. You mentioned that you love facial yoga and the movements and exercises that all are going to help to kind of just awake the skin. But with the EMS and microcurrent, how does EMS feel too much for you, or where do you stand in this?
I mean, look, I'm a coward, okay? So if there's any kind of discomfort, I'm not really there. So for instance, I think that something like microneedling has enormous potential. But I recently went to a clinic to have a microneedling session because it's something that I wanted to do more of, but I just realized at home I was like this. And I thought, this is not going to happen for me in the way I want it to, you know, so I just had to go and have somebody else do that to me. Otherwise I would just chicken out. And I'm a little bit like that with the MS really. And these are, they're trickier conversations, I think, because you know what, I think some people could find that absolutely brilliant in helping to tone, you know, I mean, that's what microcurrent EMS will help with. But for me, I just prefer the gentler currents. I mean, it's just the route that I've chosen to go down, and it is part of a preservation package of preserving fat, preserving skin density, and that's how I feel about it. But others may have a different result, and I'm sure there will be others who could speak very highly of their results using it.
Yeah, absolutely. We see people doing like this pre-event treatments with the EMS or microcurrents to kind of have lifted effect, because it's going to give you instant results. Something like red light therapy and radio frequency are going to give you like the long-term results and the benefits. Probably you're not going to see immediately. You're going to see after probably a few months, when you're like, okay, my skin looks different, my skin looks tighter. With the EMS or microcurrent, you're going to see that instant kind of lift. You can see probably those videos done, like half of the face done with microcurrent, and you just see like everything is lifted.
Oh, definitely.
Which is fascinating to see that such technologies exist. And I know there are some exciting research done on exomes, which is a topic that I have touched with Dr. Davin Lim, who's a board certified dermatologist, and he has been telling me that. I was asking what is the latest thing that you're interested in researching right now. So he has been talking about stem cells, and like there's so many things that are fascinating to see that are happening right now, and I'm getting myself into the research. So I see so many things happening, and there's so much for all of us to research. But do you believe that the ability to use such devices is also a way to empower people to actually take charge of their skin health and do the things that they want to do and transform the skin the way they want to? How do you feel about this? The opportunity to have things at home, but also in clinic?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think that the clinical treatments are really, really expensive when they are at that kind of transformative end. So the radio frequency and the ultrasound treatments, you know, they can run into the thousands sometimes if you're getting full face and neck. And for a lot of people, it's just like it's not doable. So I think having options at home, when people understand it's going to take a little longer, you know, the kind of overnight results, they're not going to be there with an at-home device. It's something that you kind of need to stick with. I think they are really good for maintenance, and I think that you can see a difference with at-home devices. It just takes a bit longer. How dramatic, I think, will vary from person to person. But I certainly think they have made the difference. I often wonder, well, what would my skin be like if I hadn't had any of those treatments? And remembering I have had an ultrasound, I've had therapy a few years ago, so that made a big difference as well. And I think we would be looking at different skin. How different, I don't know, because I might have overdone it at points as well. That's the balance, you know, reviewing something different every week. But I think my skin would be a bit different. I think I would have more sagging around here. I think the devices have been really helpful for that. But also, I want to make sure that I don't, through my content, encourage people to feel bad about aging and worried and picking over every line, which I have done. So I accept that my skin is aging, and what I'm trying to do is look and feel my best pretty naturally for as long as I can. So I feel good about aging. That's what I want to do. But we all do that differently. And I know I do hear from people who feel they've got more advanced signs of aging, and it really gets them down. And I think that there's a balance to be had there in the messaging as well, about not expecting miracles and not being hard on yourself for the way your skin has aged. Sometimes it's the luck of the draw, and, you know, good moisturizer, well hydrated skin, you feeling good about yourself, focusing on diet, exercise, and sleep, you're going to feel $1 million if you get these right, you know. So these are the things that I want people to sort of focus on, and just feeling good about themselves, accepting themselves. Sometimes things are unchangeable, and we got to accept them. Like, I would change this nose in a heartbeat, but we've become friends now along the way.
Yeah, wow, absolutely. And thank you so much for saying this. I do agree, and also based on the research that I am doing on the whole skincare, beauty, anti-aging industry, this is kind of also my conclusion that it doesn't have to do with the topicals and the skincare only. It has to do with so many other factors. But above all, it also has to do with your acceptance. And probably it is the beauty norms and the word anti-aging that we're using. And it's not the pro-aging term, which sometimes we try to integrate as much as possible, that people are kind of in the insecure stage where, like, okay, nobody's gonna look at me in the same way, or probably I'm not gonna look that youthful or radiant. Probably it's gonna, I know it affects both credibility and for some people, probably, okay, too old, probably it's going to affect your job as well. And I know in my case, probably I look too young, and sometimes people just, they're like, you don't look credible enough because you're too young. And I know there's many people in different stages of their life, but above all, I think that we need to kind of have this positive approach and not pick up on every wrinkle in line that we see on our skin, and probably every acne that kind of pops up in the middle of the week, and they're like, okay, this is kind of just ruined the whole skin, because it is not that. All of us and all human beings are beautiful in their own form. So the more we can do to enhance and keep the health of our skin, that is important. And I'm just super happy that actually there are treatments and things that we can do at home, but also in clinic, because there are different skin conditions that probably you might go to a clinic and actually get a treatment, as long as it's making you feel good about yourself. So my recommendation to everyone would be, do your research and see if it fits your needs. Just because you can afford it, just because you can get it, it doesn't mean that it's necessary, and doesn't mean that you need to use every skincare product on your skin to get the results. But keeping things moderate and in a gradual integration of things based on your needs, I think that is very important.
Yeah, be kind to your skin, it'll thank you for it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Claire, for doing this live with me and sharing your insightful information and experience with all of us. We're going to repost this video for anyone who wasn't able to join. And yeah, I really want to thank you so much. And I hope all of you have a great weekend.
Thank you. And thank you to everybody who joined. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. All right. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Take care.